Hi everyone, we're back again for another community conversation. This week I have the opportunity to speak with Aaron from UK Black Pride. So we're going to jump right in. We've got a lot of interesting information about UK Black Pride. They are volunteer-run organisations. We'll find out a bit more about that. So just like us guys at Portsmouth Pride. So we'll jump straight in it today and we'll bring Aaron on now. Hi Aaron.
Hi Tally, how are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Cool. Just one thing we like to get out of the way. My name's Sally and my pronouns are she, her. I was wondering what your pronouns are.
Sure, my name is Aaron. My pronouns are he, him.
Fantastic. It's one of the hot topics at the moment to make sure that we're addressing everyone correctly and using the correct pronouns. And this is something that is kind of sweeping across the LGBTQ plus movement. And a discussion that we had last week with Andy from Chrysalis. But you're here today to talk to us about UK Black Pride. Yes. And you guys have got this year is a very special year for you.
Yeah, this year is our 15th birthday, which we are actually celebrating on August 16th. So we are I won't go into too much detail yet. Everything's kind of kept under wraps at the moment. Okay. But we are definitely going to be celebrating in style. Of course, it's in August, so it's still going to be a virtual event. But yeah, I mean, 15 years, for a Pride, it's quite monumental, especially one which has always been seen or has always had so much backlash, I would say, particularly, within the LGBTQ community as well as outside as well. So, and it's one of those things that not a lot of people know about. I myself didn't know about UK Black Pride until probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, and I was going to say, because I've seen bits recently with the work that UK Black Pride did with the UK Pride Organisers Network. At the start of Pride Month, we shared the post and it was celebrating LGBTQ plus people of colour, which was really fantastic. But I've been aware of Black Pride for the last couple of years. So when I was sort of having a look into you guys, I was, not gobsmacked, but I was amazed that it isn't so widely known, given how long the organisation has been running. And 15 years is huge. It's a big milestone. It's just a shame that I guess COVID has hampered your sort of original plans for your festival.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, last year we moved to Haggerston Park in East London. And that wasn't all, we were pretty much forced to move there because the size of our community that wanted to celebrate was just growing and growing. And we were in Vauxhall before that, which could only hold 5,000 people.
Oh, wow.
And if you think for Haggerston Pride, at Haggerston Park, we had 12,000 people. And there was still a queue to get in at the end of the day.
That's amazing. Absolutely
we've already
amazing.
Grown out that new place.
Wow. Well, yeah, go on. I would say 2021 is going to be an amazing year for you guys. So I'll definitely be looking forward to that.
100%. I mean, I also think 2020 for us has really been a really important year. And yes, COVID has dampened that one day a year celebration for Pride that we put on. But what it's also done is really allowed us to focus our resource and our focus on what the community needs as well. And it's been a bit of a woke moment for us as well. You'll understand as a volunteer organization, there's only so much time and resource that you can put into, the year. And we all joke at Black Pride. We always say it's pretty much a full-time job.
I can agree with that.
Yeah,
if you ask
it's
anyone,
not a volunteer role. Yeah.
Any Pride network, anyone who organises a Pride event, will tell you we always say that kind of what your role is in Pride and then what you do in your real life, because you spend it is a big commitment in your time, but it's really worth it when you see the positivity that it has on your community, and especially with UK Black Pride, for you guys as well. You're based out of London, is that correct?
We are, yeah. So we're predominantly based out of London. We do have ambassadors that we have all over Europe as well, in Amsterdam and Paris and Germany, and we're looking to grow that as well. Because I think one of the biggest reasons, like you said earlier, that not a lot of people know about us, and part of that is deliberate because what we try and do more than anything is to create a really, really safe space for people who can come and celebrate exactly who they are without any discrimination, at all. And so a lot of that has been keeping it within the community as much as we can. We always say Black Pride is for everyone. Everyone can come and celebrate this at Black Pride. Anyone from our, our straight allies, our white allies. Black Pride is for everyone, and I really want to make that clear. But there is a caveat to that, and that is you really understand and respect that whilst you're in this safe space, you're there to help us celebrate. You're not there to learn and educate yourself. You're there to just absorb everything else, just like we are as well, and to celebrate that.
But I think with everything that you do for Portsmouth as well, one of the things that we try to do is to make it about more than just that main day. And for UK Black Pride, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the main day is the kind of culmination and celebration of the work that you put in throughout the year to give people an opportunity to come and educate themselves. Would you say that's kind of what your main day is really for? It's that big celebration for the people that appreciate and understand where people of colour are coming from.
Totally. I mean, we've had people message us to say that they're saving coming out for UK Black Pride. They want to do it on that day because they know they're in a really, really safe environment. And we put so much time and effort into making sure that can be that safe space. And throughout the year, I think just like other prides, a lot of our other work goes pretty much unnoticed. And that's for two reasons. One is that we don't really market, this is what we're doing, this is who we're speaking with, this is who we're helping. And again, that is deliberate because sometimes a lot of the work that we do, we are working with people who aren't particularly out. They may not be out, in their social lives or their family or their, at work. So a lot of what we have to do is a little bit undercover to protect the community as well. And, that's really important for us to really carry out that work, incognito in a way. And, that does involve putting on a lot of smaller events. We really try and help our trans brothers and sisters as well. And we always have, absolutely. And it's something that we don't massively shout about because it's such a sensitive area.
I think
we want to make sure that we can get it right.
One of the things that you also have to deal with, and when you sort of say about safe spaces, now for a majority of the people that probably are watching this, when we talk about safe spaces from an LGBTQ plus perspective, it's a space where you can sort of be yourself and be free to be gay or trans or however you identify. And with the undercover sort of element of that, and there is a lot of, I guess, and correct me if my terminology is wrong, but sometimes within minority communities, there can be a lot of stigma attached to being LGBTQ plus. And while you can live your life maybe being open and out with some friends, still, if a family member or a friend of a friend was to see you coming out of a gay bar, that could cause quite significant problems, which I guess is one of the reasons why with the events that you do it's taking that safe space to a slightly different kind of level, I guess, and giving people the freedom to be able to go somewhere that, isn't a well-known gay bar or, isn't a venue that has LGBT links. And I guess this was allowing people to feel comfortable enough to kind of attend without having the fear, because a lot of minority communities are quite insular as well. I know that with my Pakistani family up in Oldham, everyone kind of knows everyone. Yeah, everyone's your cousin.
Auntie, everyone's got the aunties, totally.
And you form that community because of the backgrounds that, your grandparents came from, or, your that shared history, I suppose. And that can be quite daunting when you're then, stepping out of what is considered acceptable.
You're so right there, and I think it's I've had it myself. I've been a black gay police officer, and when you think about walking down the street, being black, people can shout something at you. Being gay, people can shout something at you. And being a police officer, people are hurling abuse at you, especially at the moment. So, if we intensify that and internalize that into people's, family groups, a lot of people of color have to deal with it from a cultural basis as well. And not only their culture and their family, but then if you bring religion into that as well, which a lot of people have to deal with, there's so many people telling you what you should and shouldn't be in that. And, especially a lot of young people who it doesn't allow you to explore what you may be, and I think if you're hindering a lot of those, just those thoughts, because everywhere you're going, people are telling you something different. And people that you love, and you trust are telling you feelings that you're having are wrong. And, we don't do this. People in our culture aren't like this. I'm sure you've heard that a couple of times. It's hard.
It is difficult. It's difficult balancing it, and I guess this is one of the things that when we look at the sort of the Black Lives Matter campaign, it's not necessary. It's the individuals that are kind of stuck in this this middle ground where you were born here and you were raised here, and for all intents and purposes, you are British. But you have a whole other culture that plays a big part in who you are as well, and it's kind of finding the balance within all of that, and then being gay or LGBTQ plus on top of that, trying to find some kind of balance within that can be quite a difficult and internal struggle, which is why organisations like yours at UK Black Pride, it gives people, I guess, that hope, and to be able to see, other people who are, I guess, who look like them and can understand when they're talking about their family and, the things that you can and can't say and the things that you do and you don't. Finding that commonality and that link can be quite, affirming. It can be quite a euphoric feeling.
It really can, but it's also sometimes quite difficult to find. If you were to Google gay pride, you're going to have to scroll through a few pages before you get past white guys in pants with six packs. It takes a long time to find that. It takes a long time to find someone like myself, and actually I'm mixed race. So, I'm very, very aware of my white privilege within that. And I think people forget that as well, in terms of to find yourself on TV is hard enough, let alone in your own community as well. And I think that's where there's a lot of work that other prides can do to support the community. And in a way, that's what we're here for. You're doing exactly that. You reached out to UK Black Pride and said, look, we want to have this conversation with you. We understand why it's important, and we want to educate, our community with that. And there are so many prides that get in contact with Black Pride and say, please, can you become a part of us? We want you at our pride. And where we can, we're really happy to have that representation, because when we go to these smaller prides or prides outside of the city, you're very, very aware of how white they are.
And I think it's that perspective as well. Sometimes it's getting the perspective. I had the opportunity to speak with Zaina from Oxford Pride, and she's a person of colour as well. And one of the things that we sort of spoke about is within a majority of sort of pride organisations, there is a real limited representation for people of colour, and it's not by it. It's just one of those things that happens. And I guess from my perspective, and what you're saying about understanding our privilege, being mixed race as well. My mother is white. I grew up in a sort of very white background. Most of my friends are white, and you kind of almost become a little bit blind to it. And it's only when I'm then put in, I guess, situations with my Asian family that I then kind of, you kind of can see the differences within culture. And I guess it's for me personally, I'm really keen to see how we can get more BAME inclusion within Portsmouth and within Portsmouth Pride, and trying to find ways to break down those barriers to say, do you know what, this is this is a safe place for you to be who you want to be. And I think that, organizations like yourselves, and also the same with like Bi Pride and Trans Pride, this kind of umbrella organizations that encompass smaller groups within the LGBT community can really help us to learn and encourage engagement.
Completely. And I think at Black Pride, we get asked the question all the time, why are you separating from London Pride? Why do you need your own day? And, we always answer that with, well, firstly, we don't justify it. We say we want this safe space and we're going to have it. But, we understand that people might not get that, especially if they've only had the experience of mainstream Pride. So we always say it's really important to offer a safe space for people to have, who have had such a unique lived experience. And I think as Black people specifically, we have, if you're Black and gay, there's a lot that you have to deal with than your white counterparts in the LGBT community as well. So we're part of the mainstream Pride. We all go to the mainstream Pride, but we just want one day where we could just celebrate our own cultures together and experience that. And that's the same for Bi Pride and Trans Pride, for example, as well. It's great to be part of the bigger story, the bigger picture. But at the same time, you just need people around you who can understand and talk to you about what you personally had to go through to get where you are today.
Yeah, and I think that it is a really good opportunity. I think we saw the start of this year, Para Pride started up as well, which again is a pride organisation for people with different abilities. I'm not a massive fan of the word disability because I don't think there's anything wrong, but people have different abilities. I have the ability to walk. Some people don't have the ability to walk, but we're all people and and potentially all gay. But
yeah,
it's wonderful to live in a time, I think, where we can have sort of events and organizations that will represent the minorities, because it's hard to be a minority within a minority, generally anyway. But I guess this kind of leads me into, how did you get involved with volunteering with UK Black Pride?
Sure. So, like I said, I probably knew about it probably 4 or 5 years ago. And one of the first, I should, a bit of disclosure for your followers first. I also do Beyonce Experience, which is a full Beyonce drag experience.
Oh, wow.
And I've been really lucky to literally travel the world with it. I have a troupe of 20 dancers that perform with me. And I performed with Pride in London at Trafalgar Square for 5 years in a row,
cool.
which had been amazing. And probably 3 years ago, they asked me to do the Sunday as well, which is their Pride in the Park. So I was super excited to have, 2 performances for Pride in London. And I started tweeting about it and looking it up online. And I found that Black Pride was in the same park as Pride in London.
Oh.
And I got really confused by this. I was thinking, so am I performing for Black Pride or Pride in the Park? It's pretty much one of the same. So I was tagging Black Pride into my tweet saying, can't wait to perform. And they actually got back to me and said, you're not performing on our stage. Why do you think you are? And I said, oh, no, I am. I've organized this. And they said, oh, no, we actually have 2 separate stages at each end of the park. So I was like, that's a real shame. And they said, but we've just looked at your profile. We absolutely love you. We want you to be part of Black Pride. So I said, right, okay, let me see if I can do this. So I think about 5 p.m. I'd gone to the Pride in the Park stage and performed a very, let's say, unapologetic Beyonce set.
Okay.
Which is, let's put it that way. A lot of cursing, very, very strong message, political messaging. A load of black girls in very, very tight bodysuits. And the audience jaws were a little bit like, what is this? They had people doing acoustic sets, to guitars and things like that. And then we were up on the stage and do a 40-minute full-on Beyonce show. And we were actually running late, so we just ran down to the Black Pride stage, jumped on the stage, and pretty much did the same set.
Oh, wow.
and the crowd were just electric. Like I literally get goosebumps now thinking about it. They just roared so much I couldn't actually hear the track.
Oh, wow.
From it, and I was just like, oh my god, why is there such a difference, across the park? And it clicked to me. It was, oh, that's because the message that I was putting out in that performance, they got.
Yeah.
They understood. And it wasn't until afterwards I'd actually emailed Lady Phil, who's the co-founder of UK Black Pride, and I said, I need to be involved in UK Black Pride. I can't believe I didn't know enough about this organization. And then I offered my services, as I also own a digital media production company. And I said, I want to film your events. I want to help you with your social media. I want to help with your website. I really need to work with your digital presence. And year one, I kind of went in and they were like, yeah, okay, we do it this way and we do it that way. And I said, okay, I'll learn, I'll absorb. Year two, I said, right, I want to change everything. I want to change how we do social media, website, how we speak to the community. And I kind of brought a team with me to do that because as a small organization, they just didn't have the resource there at the time. So I'm now in year three.
Oh, wow.
And it was last year I was promoted to head of marketing and brand, which is amazing because it's one of those things where, yes, it's another full-time job. I say I have my day job and my gay job, and my gay job is just as many hours as my full-time job. But the sense of achievement I get from that, and that's very selfish sometimes, because I feel I really want to give back to the community, but to a community that really needs help, that really needs the resource, that, really needs people to help. And I find that a lot with Pride. I find that there's a lot of people in the community that want to moan about how Pride is done or who's on stage or, who are the sponsors. And I'm not one of those. If I find something wrong, like I did with Black Pride, because I didn't know about it, I said, right, I'm going to come in and help.
And I think
that's
exactly
what I did.
Every Pride organisation wants us to be able to find people that will see something that maybe they have more experience with or they have a better understanding of. And we are always happy to take on comments and we'll review things. I think I saw one of your posts about Justin Fashanu, and Justin, as a bit of a sports, I enjoy sports. And Justin Fashanu is one of these individuals who is so unbelievably overlooked in the LGBTQ plus community, especially when we're talking about, sports and LGBTQ, gay, specifically gay representation. And there's a lot more women that are open about their sexuality, especially in football. I guess across majority of the sports. And Justin Fashanu came out as gay in the 90s when he was a Black football player who got one of the highest record transfer deals for a person of colour. And you guys did sort of exactly what we did. You put the post out, someone commented about female football players, and you took it on board and you changed it. And that's what we aim to do. But it's always nice if you get an email from someone and say, actually, do you know what? We've seen this and it would be really great if I could come and help. And, this is what I do and this is how I do it. So anybody out there, if you're London based, if you're Portsmouth based, then drop us emails. You can email UK Black Pride or you can email Portsmouth Pride if you see something that you could help with or you want to get involved, because I think the volunteers are the heart and soul of it, and we all fundamentally do it because we want to make a better world to be an LGBTQ plus person. But I guess with your marketing background and your media background as well, coming into COVID, you guys have had quite a lot of exciting things that have come up on your social media, and you're doing Pride Inside as well, which is I think it's a campaign with different kind of talks and different formats. So do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So Pride Inside is in partnership with Stonewall, Amnesty International and Power Pride. And it's a series of masterclasses, conversations, and entertainment. And what we loved about Pride Inside is that it's a lot of organizations coming together. And we don't see that enough. And again, it's something that's been born out of COVID. You know, we were looking to see what are we going to do? How are we going to do things? And you know, we listened to the community. We said, what do you want? You know, what do you want to learn about? What do you, what would help you right now? And of course, they want entertainment. We all need to be entertained at the end of the day. But we were really profound to have so many people give us feedback on what they wanted to know more about, you know, more about grassroots of UK Black Pride and people in general. And we found that people in the community have really wanted to use this time to educate themselves, to learn about, you know, I think the Stonewall riots have just, okay, yeah, they cut, you know, everyone talks about them around, you know, in June, but I feel this year people have really dug deep to learn more about it as well. And I think that coincides with Black Lives Matter movement as well, which I'm sure we'll get onto. But with Pride Inside, you know, we put together a weekend, this weekend just gone, of events, 14 events over 4 days. And those events you can still watch back on prideinside.uk. And yeah, for us, it was just really being able to give back to the community. And we've had so much engagement through that. Normally, you know, more than what we'd have in our normal Pride events as well. And yes, people at home, they've got not as much to do, but I think offering them that, you know, that insight and education has really been great for everyone.
And it's also a kind of a lasting legacy as well, because once it's there and it's online, people can kind of go back and watch it. If they've missed it, they can watch it again, they can show it to their friends. And we really are, you know, we have moved into an age, I mean, technology has always been there and social media has kind of boomed over the last 13 years. How we as organizations and, you know, even businesses approach people for marketing and, you know, just getting messages out there. There's so much information, but it's finding a way to get the right information out to your community, and also for individuals that want to learn. And as you're saying, right now, specifically in the UK, we've got a few kind of real key issues that I think, because of COVID, are changing the way that we are approaching them and how information is being provided. And also there's a lot more drive for people to kind of educate themselves, and they're getting a greater ability to do that because of the information that is being produced by organizations like yourself, high profile celebrities as well. And when we're looking specifically at kind of the trans issue, there's a huge amount of this kind of sits with social media, with the changes in legislation that are coming through, the lack of information that's coming through from the government. Monroe Berger, I always stumble on her surname. I'm never good at it. But no, there's so much information, and it's giving people that voice and being able to stand up as well. And I think that, you know, what you're saying with regards to Black trans lives being brought to the highlight of this as well, because there is a lot of stigma generally around being LGBTQ+, and then you kind of filter that down, and it kind of becomes more and more concentrated the more levels you kind of go down within, you know, communities and minority groups. And it is really important for us to look at and to speak about.
It really is. And I think, you know, for someone who's Black and gay, I was finding myself exhausted at the end of each day. I think at the height of the Black Lives Matter movement, from a social perspective, I was needing to talk to people. I was needing to educate people about posts that they were sharing, and clearly stories and videos that they were sharing without knowing the full story. And I think that's on both sides as well. You know, but I'm always someone who, if I see a video online of police using force, which, you know, gets shared and people are like, look at this force, look how bad it is, they've got 6 people on one guy. I'm always one that will try and give that answer as to why the police use 6 people to tackle one person, because it's safer. You know, being a police officer myself, I remember having to, you know, deal with guys that were a lot bigger than me, or women who I felt, if I'm going to have to detain you myself, I'm going to have to use a lot of force if it's just myself. But if there's 6 of us, we can, do it a lot safer, use a lot less force. Although it might look quite excessive, actually it's the safest way to do things sometimes. So I think when we're talking about the Black Lives Matter movement, we're finding ourselves having to defend not only the movement itself, but then outside of the community. It's pretty well known that if you're Black and gay, it's quite difficult in the Black community. The stereotype is that we're not gay. It doesn't happen to us. But I think how the community reacted to the movement was amazing. We were there with them, protesting where we could, whether that be online or in person, and really sharing and amplifying the message. None of us were giving our own stories or giving our own opinion. We were just using our voice to amplify that very, very key message, which was obviously quite difficult when everyone is just digging in with their own opinion on what they think is right or wrong. If they think protesting is right or gathering, during COVID is a good idea. And, it's quite difficult to ignore that and just to help what you feel is right at that time. But I feel how the LGBTQ plus community reacted was incredible. Not only did they go there and say, yes, Black Lives Matter, and use their voice for that, they also said all Black Lives Matter and really pushed, the trans community at the front of that message, because again, within that minority of a minority, our trans brothers and sisters are who are in real danger right now. Myself and a Black trans person in our daily lives, they are at such a much higher risk of any danger than I am. And that's why it's so important for us to, to amplify that message.
And I think it's just important for us generally. And one of the things I always look at with LGBTQ plus, there is a whole heap of other letters in there, and I couldn't tell you what they all mean without looking at a piece of paper, mainly because I don't have the best memory. But one of the key ones is always the A, and it is the A for the allies. And whether that is, a heterosexual ally or a white ally, we as a whole, when we say prides are for everyone, they are, because we need our allies. And the same way that with the Black Lives Matter movement, the LGBT community need to stand or have stood with other minorities, because we understand what it is to be discriminated against. Now, you can debate and you can discuss, and as you said, it is opinions with regards to protesting during COVID, but it doesn't make the subject matter any less important. And I guess that's the key message, is that we're standing here and saying, actually, we are fighting for equality for everyone. And no one is saying that, one person's life is more important than another person's life. What we're saying is that some people are in a more vulnerable situation than other individuals. And that's the key.
Absolutely. And I think, when we talk about the word ally, we often go straight to our straight allies, forgetting that actually I need to be an ally to you. You need to be an ally to me. We need to be an ally to our trans brothers and sisters as well. The allyship starts within our organization first. And I think a lot of people forget that a lot. And again, coming back to UK Black Pride, we have that a lot within our own community as well. People saying you don't need your own pride, you should be part of this one. And, that's your opinion, but can you not just use your voice and your position to help us understand, have that space that we want?
Do you think that, sorry.
No, go on. Go.
Do you think that when I kind of hear that statement, it always just kind of rings of, the heterosexual community saying, well, where's straight pride? And with you know, people...
every day. Gay Pride is every single day.
And I think that one of the key part that people are missing is Pride is a celebration of the LGBTQ plus community. It is a celebration of the struggles that we have gone through, the protests that have happened. It is part of our history. When you're looking at organisations such as UK Black Pride, Bi Pride, Iman just set up this year, which is a Muslim pride organisation. It's taking the queerness and then putting together the culture that goes with that. And I guess that's the reason why, because you can celebrate the culture, you can find artists and music, because, you know, even culturally, choices in music, choices in food, you know, all these kinds of things can be celebrated in a way that it wouldn't be celebrated in a sort of I don't want to say normal, but in a location pride. So if you have London Pride, you're celebrating Pride for the LGBTQ plus people of London, and you're opening it up to kind of a bit more like a wider celebration of culture as well, culture and history, and, you know, all the nuances that make people of colour who they are.
And yeah, absolutely. And I think let's take London Pride for an example. You know, I performed for London Pride for 5 years in a row. My production company has also filmed all of their stages for, I think, 3 or 4 years as well. So I'm very heavily involved in that, obviously from a client perspective. But at the same time, you know, London Pride have 1 million people congregate in the streets and the bars and the stages. It's so big, you're never going to cater for everyone. But that's okay. You know, there are only 8 hours on that main stage. You're never going to fit, you know, something for everyone. Could it be a little bit more diverse? Perhaps, but you're still never going to, you know, you're never going to please everyone. And I think that's why it's really important for these, you know, for these other prides to pop up and just celebrate that very, very unique diversity. And I love what you just said. I love, you know, being able to find, you know, musicians and artists and poets and activists within that minority, because it's so hard otherwise. You know, even someone like myself, who I'm in it. I'm speaking with these people every day. I'm doing news, you know, news pieces every single day. I still can't tell you, you know, could you name 4 Muslim drag queens, you know, a Muslim band, you know, a lesbian football team? No, I can't, because they're so, you know, it's so vast. But if there's an organization for them, then I can work with them, you know, and you know, and if I, you know, and we can experience more. Why would you not want more prides that you can go and experience something a little different?
Yeah, 100%. And from our perspective as a location pride, we want to try and get as much engagement with prides like yourself and the other, I don't want to say fringe prides, that's not the right word I'm looking for. But I guess it's the prides that celebrate, that are more than just a location pride. It's not about being, you know, a London-based pride. It is about being a pride for people of colour. And, you know, it is UK Black Pride, but actually it's not just, you know, people of African origins or descent. It's for all people of colour as well, because you guys actively outline that within the work that you do. And so for us as a location pride, we want to engage with you guys, with Para Pride, Bi Pride and Iman, and get that engagement to see how we can bring a little bit of what you're doing to our events, to make people who may be scared or fearful to attend a location-based pride, because people might not, you know, because of how people may react to them, or what it might be like. It might be very mainstream, because as you said previously, a majority of the mainstream prides, it is quite a specific palette of, or it can be quite a specific palette of faces, and it is also difficult when you look at society and you look at what we kind of take our baseline from. When you look at something, you're trying to find someone that looks like you. And I remember growing up being gay, and I remember when Queer as Folk first came on the television, and that was the first TV show I'd ever seen about gay people, admittedly gay men, but gay people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. And then for another several years, the L Word came out, which was a show just about lesbians. And so I was like, oh my goodness. And this year, watching Ackley Bridge, that for me was probably a really poignant show that I wish that was out when I was younger, because it was something that I could relate to the most, being a gay, Muslim woman, and to see that story. And this is what I guess we try to do with location-based prizes, to make a safe hub for everyone to come out. But what you guys are trying to do is give younger people and older people a space where they can look and say, these are people like me.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got to remember, when UK Black Pride started in 2005, it was Lady Phil and a coach of black lesbians who went to Southend-on-Sea for the day. One of them was a DJ. They just set up the decks, had a bit of a barbecue, and they just wanted to be together. They went to Southend because it was out of the way. They could find a space and be themselves, and it's really been the community that have helped organically grow that. And, this year being our 15th birthday, we're really going back to those roots, to those very, very early prides, and reminding ourselves why we do it, because I think it's great for me to stand on the stage at UK Black Pride and look over, 12,000 people and think, wow, this is a great community. But we need to make sure that we can get that message out there, so that people that are, they think they're gay, or they just think they're different, if they fall into our category, we're there for them. And I think actually, the whole idea of the name, UK Black Pride, it's there in the origins of when it started. And, yes, it's Black Pride. And, again, it's something that we get asked all the time. Why are you not called BAME Pride or People of Color Pride? And actually, I think there's not one term that defines us. There really isn't. I personally am getting tired of saying BAME. It doesn't represent everybody. It's a lazy way of saying it, but there's also no other way of really grouping people together. We say queer people of color, we might as well be the rainbow. There's not a way of saying it, but it's okay to get it wrong. But
Yeah.
Don't read so much into a name. Read into what we do, who you see, and how you feel when you're at Black Pride.
That's wonderful. And it's a really positive and really strong message. And as you said earlier, just to kind of recap on it, you guys are celebrating your 15th anniversary online. So how can people tune into this?
Sure. Well, okay, I'll give you a little bit of information, a little bit of an exclusive. So we are hiring a theatre.
Oh, wow.
We're hiring a theatre where we are going to be putting on a full day of fantastic high production. I think everyone's bored of, people singing through Zoom and, in their living room. So look, we're going, okay, look, it's a venue that has been set up for live streams, which is PPE'd out to the max. They have a fantastic in and out system for performers to do that. So we're going to be hosting it solely on our website, which is ukblackpride.org.uk. Again, it's a safe space that people can watch something without it being on Facebook and then popping up in timelines and things like that, or people seeing them comment. So it's a very safe space where people can comment and be part of the day. We're also going to be still running our welfare and well-being stage, which will be a series of talks and masterclasses at the same time.
Oh, brilliant.
Which will be available afterwards as well. So we're going to be releasing that schedule very, very soon. We've literally only today got back to the performers to ask them if they'll be part of that. So within the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to see more about what we're going to be releasing. But we've got some incredibly amazing things to help us celebrate our 15th birthday.
And that is fantastic. So anyone, if you want to keep up to date with all of the information, then you can like UK Black Pride's Facebook page. You can head to their website, and you guys are also on Instagram, and I'm assuming Twitter as well.
We are everywhere. Wherever you are, we are.
That's great, and we've got all the handles running along the bottom, so you can easily find them. Do you have your date confirmed? Sorry, you said it in the beginning, but I have a terrible memory. So
we do, yeah. So yeah, so the 15th celebration is on the 16th of August, which is a Sunday. So you can sit at home, enjoy it, and by the evening, get up and dance with us.
Brilliant. So yes, make sure you check it out. I know that I'll definitely be watching. I've totally forgotten to ask anyone if they've got any questions. The website is www.ukblackpride.org.uk. So yeah, but if you head to their Facebook page and like it, then you'll be able to find a link to the website. And yeah, so I just wanted to thank you so much for coming on. Definitely would love to catch up with you guys maybe later in the year and see how everything is going, and maybe run through how awesome the event was, because I know it's going to be amazing. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on to our community conversation today. And yeah, if anyone does have any questions or they want to get involved, then please get in touch with UK Black Pride, and if we get any information, we'll be more than happy to pass it along to Aaron and his team. So that's
amazing.
Great.
Well, look, thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for reaching out to UK Black Pride to have this conversation. It's really important that other prides, can become part of that as well. So I'd love to discuss more about what we can do. Obviously, Beyonce Experience is available. So if you want to have us come down and perform, we can certainly get people's jaws dropping for an hour.
Well, yeah. Well, when we start getting all the things narrowed down for 2021, I'm pretty sure that someone will probably be in touch.
Amazing. Well, again, thank you so much. This is what we want. We want prides to reach out, and
yes,
we're doing the same. So that's amazing.
Well, hopefully we can collaborate again in the future. And yeah, when we would absolutely love to come along to your next physical event. Portsmouth Prides wants to get out there and try and get to as many prides as we possibly can in 2021. We're very disappointed to not be able to do it this year, and we would love to have you guys to come down and march if the dates line up and come and enjoy our celebration as well.
Amazing. So, we'll be well up for that.
Cool. That's great. Thank you, Aaron. We will see you later. I'm going to get Chantel to pop you out now and get her to pop in with me while we finish off the roundup. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, so that's great. Chantel will drop some links in for the website and all of the social media when we post this on Facebook and YouTube. But yeah, that went really well, and it's really positive. How did you find it? Was it?
Yeah, really interesting. I was curious as to how it all worked, because like you said, it's not a location-based pride, so I was curious where it happened and stuff like that. So yeah, very, very interesting, and very good to collaborate.
But yes, well, this is it for this week from myself and Chantel. Big hand, as always, to my awesome producer. We will be back next Wednesday, and we're going to have Steve from Northern Pride, which is, well, UK Pride 2021. They've had to go online, so we're going to be talking to them about that. And yeah, and then we've probably got more stuff coming up, but my memory's terrible.
I'm going to tell you.
Yes.
And then the week after we have Josh Daniel, aka Fabulous Josh, on the 22nd of July. Same time. We're going to be doing it same time and same day on a Wednesday every week now. So everyone will know when to expect it, essentially.
Yeah, and we'll be chatting with the Fabulous Josh about how COVID has impacted the theatres, performing arts, and everything that is fabulous.
Exactly.
Great. Well, thank you everyone who's tuned in today. We really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.